Hello, everybody. Appreciate you all joining me this evening. This is Joe Bullis, and we are doing a MELS 603 webinar for October the 2nd, 2018. I hope everyone is doing well. Wanted to go ahead tonight and talk a little bit about OMA Task 3, and then see if any of you got any questions. I am recording this, and as always, I'll post this recording and send it out to you. I'll put it in the Blackboard shell under the video library tab for MELS 603, and then I'll send the link to the YouTube recording via email. So you should be all getting that. I hope everybody is progressing well with OMA Task 1 and 2. And like I said, we're going to talk about Task 3 this evening. I know some of you living in the eastern part of the state and certainly in South Carolina too have been faced with a lot of challenges with the weather situation, and even though the hurricane and the tropical storm has passed, I know there's still a lot of things that need to be done. I hope you and your family are all safe and are weathering the situation well. Certainly, I understand. I want to go ahead and send this out. I believe I sent out an email a few days ago, but with lack of power and lack of internet and school not being open, some of you may be a little bit behind on the task just because of those things, and we'll certainly work with you. I know the Dean of the School of Education for Gardner-Webb sent out an announcement. I think Dr. Lamb also sent out an announcement that just let us know what's going on, and we'll work with you as far as getting all the tasks done and the deadlines and being able to accomplish whatever you need to for this semester. So we'll go ahead and get started with OMA Task 3, and it's relatively simple. As you can see on the screen, I pulled up the rubric, and basically you need to get hold of your school schedule. Take a look at that schedule and look through it. Now, not just the Bell schedule, but you could also look at teacher PLC schedules, grade level meetings, how they're set up within the school, or if you're in high school or middle school team meetings, how are they scheduled? How are department meetings scheduled? You can look at that. You could also look, and you will need to look to some extent on the EC schedule for EC children or any of your other special populations, such as EL students, and certainly your EC students. How are they scheduled? How do they come in as part of a push-in or a co-teaching environment, or are they pulled out? I know some EL students are pulled out periodically for instruction and language acquisition. How are your EC students treated as far as the scheduling goes? So if you look at the rubric, you look at that schedule and the procedures of the schedule, and you notate any strengths. And while you're looking at the schedule, are there any areas for improvement as well? Also put into that and kind of intertwine in that the school improvement team, what input that they might have into the schedule as well, especially when you're looking at some of the legal aspects of the schedule, such as legally teachers are to have at least a 30-minute duty-free lunch, and the legal ramifications of the schedule for EL students being served, EC students being served. Are there any legal requirements? Especially, I'm of course familiar with North Carolina, and some of you from South Carolina, and not as familiar with this general statutes that govern teacher collaboration and planning in South Carolina as it are in North Carolina. But what does it say about that? What are some of the legal requirements that a principal must adhere to in scheduling teachers and scheduling students? And getting back into diverse and exceptional populations, how those accommodations made for specific groups. Some of you may be in a middle school or a high school or even elementary school where you have some self-contained classes. How are those self-contained students how do they fit into the schedule on the daily routine? So you want to be looking at that as well. Once you kind of do an analysis of the structure of the schedule and you kind of notate strengths, look for improvement. And as you take that schedule and you see that there's areas for maybe for improvement, um, and you know, take those areas of improvement and basically revise the schedule if at paper only now. And in doing all this, you want to get permission with your building administrator, with your principal. Let them know what you're doing in this task if you haven't already, because you will definitely need their help to kind of look and analyze that academic schedule. And let the principal know what you're doing and that you're going to be maybe offering up some possible revisions to the schedule to kind of improve it. Also talk perfect resource for you as far as EC schedules go or EL student schedule is talk to your ESL teacher or talk to your EC teacher. And then you in your narrative you outline the schedule. Then you notate all the strengths of the schedule, you look for areas of improvement, and then you offer a revision to that schedule. And then you include that revision in your task. So you will basically devise a alternate to what's going on in your school now, and then you will submit that to the building administrator or the school improvement team, and you have documentation that you submitted that or presented it, PowerPoint, what have you, whether they choose to adopt it or not. If they adopt it, then basically that would move you in from the proficient column to the accomplished column, as if there's evidence provided that demonstrates that the revision that you suggested or the improved, if you will, schedule that you suggested was actually adopted by the school. So that would go from proficient to accomplished, and that's basically all that you've got going on in task 3, and looking at that schedule and offering a revision to it. So that's all you got really going on in task 3. So do any of you have any questions at this time? Okay, great. If you do, I'm going to go into TaskStream for just a second and kind of review with you a little bit on TaskStream. So if you do have any questions, certainly you can get into the chat box and type that out, and I'll address that in a moment. But let's go into TaskStream. I always like to kind of do a review, even though we've done this before. Do a review on TaskStream, make sure that everybody's getting the information, and make sure no one has any questions regarding TaskStream as well. And we'll go back to this 2017 example for 603. Don't forget, as you finish up your OMA, you've got this last task 3, to complete, and then task 4 is just another reflection on the competencies, which you would save for your competency analysis in 605. But you'll be doing task 1, task 2, task 3, and as I was saying, task 4 is just a reflection on the competencies that you utilized in the OMA. So that'll be what task 4 is all about. And don't forget to do your school ed dispositions. Once again, for 603, you'll do that. Certainly, this is 602 was a good semester for you. I'm sure with the APTL, you only have one thing basically to worry about. It's a whole lot better than some of you will remember 601, when you had a lot of things going on, and in 605 it'll be that way too as you finish up and graduate. But for 603, you just take care of the OMA and the School of Ed dispositions. Don't forget your folio, your competency folio, whatever competencies listed in your folio that are kind of correlate to the OMA. just put those artifacts in there and upload them. So you'll still be caught up with all that, and it'll be completed by the time you get 605. You'll have everything addressed. So that's just as you're finishing up for this semester. Don't forget about those school of ed dispositions. I know we got a little ways to go before the end of the semester. Certainly take care of your OMA, get your grade back on your OMA for that, and then you can worry about the school of ed dispositions as you finish up this semester. In new Blackboard, if you haven't already, you may want to go ahead and start putting in some tasks. I have gave feedback to several of you on the OMA task 1. Some of you already got into task 2, so make sure that you're staying on pace to finish for this semester in your OMA. Once again, the recording for this video will be here in the video library under 603 folder. You'll find it there. Don't forget that for the OMA, you submit your task 1, task 2, task 3, and task 4. You submit those individually and get feedback from those. When I've given you feedback and you made any revisions based on my feedback, then you can drop them into the evaluation drop box for grading. As you finish up your evaluation drop box, when we get to the point where you do the turn it in, remember you take all those individual tasks, just make it one flowing document for turn it in, get your turn it in grade, and then you're good to go back into task stream and submit the OMA for evaluations. So that's just a little quick review, also with where we're at now, and give you a kind of a heads up on task 3. Once again, does anyone have any questions? Okay, great. You guys, like I said, in 603, I kind of adhere to the gradual release model. Is at the 601 kind of give a lot of interaction, a lot of feedback, and then as you progress through the semester, 602 and 603, you guys are pros at this now and know what the routine is, know what the expectations are, and so I kind of gradually release the responsibility to you, knowing that you can handle it on your own. And just to go ahead and let you know now, while we're talking about this, probably in 604 and 605, I usually Zoom just on an as-needed basis. I'll send out a few email reminders throughout the semester in 604 and 605 that if you need to Zoom or you have any questions or you want to hear from me on some specific items, then you can just email me and we'll provide those. We probably won't do scheduled Zoom meetings like we do in 603 as we get into 604 and 605. So it's just a heads up of things to come. Once again, I hope you all are doing well. I hope the start to your school year has been as positive as can be with some of the things that many of you I know are dealing with. So I'll certainly keep praying for you and your families and your schools. Hopefully those will get everybody will get back to a normal routine as soon as possible. Unless anybody has any comments, concerns, or questions, I'm probably going to sign off. Once again, if you need me, send me an email. I'll be looking for your task in the review so we can get you into the evaluation drop box, get you graded so you can dump that stuff into task stream. I hope you all have a good evening, and thank you very much for attending this evening.